My name is Addison Pufelis. I was born December 11th, 1994, 4:43 p.m., Boulder, Colorado. The date today is July 25th. It's about 9:01 a.m. and it is a Saturday, 2020. I don't have any solid reason as to why I'm recording right now. I feel that it's imperative to get what's on my mind out. And if I were to need to look back on it and have a video recording, then it would be better. So that's one reason potentially why I'm doing this. Another reason would be entertainment for myself. Changes the dynamic of things. And I'm alone. The house is a slight mess right now. The utility bills have been paid. The internet bill's coming up, and so is rent. And I start work tomorrow at a different warehouse across the street from the one I was working at for Amazon. My girlfriend works there, and it has been troublesome going to work despite it being right across the street due to the fact that our start times and end times were an hour difference and our days were different. Now it'll be better that our times are synced up, working the same shift, offset one day, so we both have our alone time for one day each week, and we work together 3 days out of the week. 10 hours, 40 hours a week, 3-day weekend, hour drive there, hour drive back. So it's nice. It's a nice change of pace. I had in my mind something I wanted to talk about initially before starting this recording. Lately I've been feeling disconnected, discontent, as if life wasn't happening as I was living it, as if I was watching it through a film, a backlogged recording, ironically, like this, but not necessarily the same, for obvious reasons. And it's caused a detriment to my psychological state. And this is an attempt to change that because it's something new that I haven't done. I want to keep the neurons creating new pathways, and I want to keep myself young for as long as I possibly can. I'm 25. According to my girlfriend, my half-birthday just passed, so before long I'll be 26, and so on and so on. And eventually I'll die, like everyone else, since the dawn of man, since the dawn of life, since the beginning of time. Collecting one's thoughts impromptu, not having a clear demographic. Will I be the only one watching this? Will I show it to people I care about? Will I post it on YouTube to be seen by, yes, millions? That would be the end goal if that were the path I was trying to take, but I don't really know right now. I don't know if I'm doing this for me alone or if I'm doing this with a purpose to be shown to others. And I'm just fine with that. This is a experiment as well as an expression. And there's something gratifying about talking to something you know is listening instead of just yourself, even if that thing listening is just your computer recording you. You know that what's being said and what you're doing is being jotted down into a data bank to be pulled up in the future. My cough isn't the Rona. I smoke, and I've cut back considerably. I went from a pack and a half to half a pack a day, except for my days off. About 3/4 of a pack. I've set the rule for myself, no chain smoking, one every hour, give or take 10 minutes. Usually take 10 or 15 minutes if I'm drinking. 45 is enough, but sometimes I'll wait 2 hours, and it offsets nicely. And the improvement in that small change is already showing psychologically. I'm not dependent on nicotine and tobacco for that dopamine release, which was the main factor as to why I started cutting back, along with the effect it has on my wallet. Cigarettes can get very expensive when you smoke a pack a day. That's $300 a month for my $10 American Spirits. I was thinking about life. I was thinking about how becoming so used to things, growing complacent with the status quo of everyday, day-to-day existence. And it's easy to get lost. It's easy to just fall into that pattern and to lose that zest. I can't live like that. Not for lack of an ability, but that was redundant. Contradicting. Lack of inability. Not for lack of ability, but my mental state is something that takes a hard hit when I start doing the same thing over and over and over again, and there's nothing new to be had. And what's worse is the drive. It's like a car, you need gas to drive, and it just sucks all the gas out of me. And then I have no drive left to do anything. And when I have no drive left to do anything, I end up doing the same thing over and over again. Walking down those same trodden neural pathways. Doing the same things, the same experience, the same rush. And it's not a fulfilling way to live. For myself. Nor anyone, I think. So I guess what I really wanted to talk about was fear and the existence of oneself and bravery. Too often I've fought being afraid. Too often I've fought fear itself as if it was something I needed to not have, that I couldn't exist alongside. Coexistence was non-negotiable. And that's not true. There was a time in my life where I was constantly afraid. Every day, every person I talked to, every time I woke up, I was afraid. Like it was the tone, like it was the soundtrack to my life. And constantly playing. I decided that it was something that I needed to get rid of. But a friend told me during that time period that I asked, "What do you think of me?" out of curiosity. And she told me that she thought I was brave, and it struck me. It took years for what she told me to set in, and for me to really understand the implication of that, because I did get up, I adventured, I traveled, I walked, I drove, I went out, I talked to people, all the while just screaming internally. And that's bravery, because I was afraid, but I still did things. And that was something that I believed to have been lost inside myself. And it's not for the fact that I thought after that time period that I needed to get rid of that fear. And it wasn't really until recently that those words came back to me, as the fear started coming back. And it makes sense now. Practical fear, the same as practical anger. Fear in the face of a lion is very practical. Fear of zombies is highly impractical. And fear of the unknown can't be helped. Because how do you know what you don't know with no means to know? Which brings me to happiness and the fear of being happy. More accurately, the fear of being happy and having happiness being taken away. And the impractical fear of the unknown, events that could occur to take that happiness away. And the necessity of being brave to allow yourself to feel happiness. And in my case, myself. Anger, practical anger to my understanding is described as, or rational anger is described as, being angry about something you have the ability to affect and change. Because if you have no power, influence, or control over it, then there's no use in being angry about it. And one must just accept it as it is. As that saying goes, it is what it is. Nothing more, nothing less. I want to better myself. I don't want to be the best. I want to be better than me yesterday, right now. And tomorrow I want to be better than I am today. And with that mindset, to exponentially grow and never compare. I have a light sensor outside my front door, and the window's open. It turns on every time a car drives by, so that was a bit strange. Don't know if anybody's out there, but that'd be interesting. Because the car didn't drive by just now when it came on. Editing is a thing. Potentially I could just cut this video down and bring in all the parts where I'm talking and cut out all the sighs and raw pauses and whatnot. But would I do that if I'm gonna keep it to myself, or would I do that simply to show it to people? I don't want to be a YouTuber, but it would be nice to express my thoughts and have people see it. And maybe along the way, connect with people. And if I was going to post this on my channel, where I post my music, I always described my ambition in the sense that if 10 years from now, one person comes to me and says, hey, I was going to kill myself, but I heard one of your songs, and it changed my mind. Just one person. Then I could say I'm a successful musician. Jeez. It's not like talking in front of a podium. I'm literally staring at myself, talking to myself, but the knowledge that potentially a mass group of people could eventually see this gets that frog jumping in your throat. I think the fear of failure, not amounting to being enough, is what drives that fear of success. Because the more success you have, the more you have to fail. Suppose there was no really central theme as to what I wanted to talk about right now. I just wanted to get some thoughts out, and honestly, this is a test run. I've never done this before. I've made video logs for myself, knowing that it was just me, and maybe a friend or two. That kind of thing you show somebody, like a diary entry, knowing you wrote it for yourself, but thinking that by showing them, they'd understand you a little bit better. Nobody really wants to be alone. And if we do want to be alone, we still want to not feel alone. And that could be what this is as well, as a person may watch this and think, hey, I feel like that too. That's why memes are so popular. They allow us to, oh right, I've been there. Yeah, man, I get you, I understand, me too. I suppose I'll make this all for now. 20 minutes of editing.